This one day I was skipping last period, roaming the hallways, and I see my aunt walk towards me. And she walked up to me and she was like, I'm taking you out of school right now. Like, we have to go home. And we got in the car and she told me, your brother has been arrested. My brother was working at the pizza place, and who turned out to be the other two defendants and actually the perpetrators of the crime worked at this pizza place.
If young people are so keyed into mindfulness, wellness, all this stuff, are you finding business to be depleting in addiction recovery?
Absolutely not.
What about Ozempic? What is there a downside to being on Suboxone for the rest of your life?
No, there's not a downside to being on Suboxone for the rest of your life.
All right, so this is very, very interesting. I'm with the wonderful Dr. Nzinga Harrison. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Dave.
And I like to recount our relationship because it's come so far, hasn't it?
It has. It's like 5 years, isn't it?
I think it's like 5 years. It's around there, totally. Dr. Harrison had a very important podcast.
Dr. Harrison.
I'm just making you
funny.
Sound official.
Okay, thank you.
Had a big podcast, and they said, "Will you have this woman on the show? She's going to be the new Dr. Drew." That's what they pitched me.
That's what they pitched.
That's what I said.
I think they really believed it.
It could have happened, but
there's still time.
Listen, we all have our path. Dr. Drew has his path. Dr. Nzinga Harrison has her path.
Thank you.
It's we all have our path.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I don't want her on. And I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it.
Why am I first hearing of this right now in this moment?
Because it feels very professional.
Okay.
And then I don't think we talked. I think we
didn't. We literally just jumped on.
We jumped on, and it was one of my most favorite recordings ever on the telephone during COVID.
Yeah.
I was in the attic of my house.
I was in the closet of my house.
And we hit it off immediately. And we had good sound, good vibes. And then unprecedented, the week next, you came on again. 2 weeks in a row, random.
Wait, but the second week was because we just decided I'm coming back, or because we didn't schedule to?
No, I called you. I said, could you do this thing and answer some questions for the Dopey Nation?
Yes.
And because and then I was like, we should pitch your podcast network to have a podcast with the two of us. They didn't go for it.
Did not go for it. But I immediately was like, I rock with the Dopey Nation. Let's go.
For sure. And the Dopey Nation rocked with you as well. But the interesting thing, and I think it's my failing as a podcaster and interviewer, and maybe as a human being, is what did I know about Dr. Nzinga Harrison? I knew she ran a spot called Eleanor Health.
Yeah.
I know she's an addiction expert.
Yeah.
I know she's a doctor. I know she's married.
Yep.
2 kids.
Yep.
I know all these things.
That's a lot.
But it's nothing. I know nothing. 5 years later, randomly, you send me a clip of a documentary about your life. And I was like, how come I don't know anything about your life?
And why did I even send it to you? Was it for real random?
I don't know. I don't know. I think I saw something on social media.
Probably did, because, we were making the big push for clemency for my brother. And I think you texted me and you were like, how do I not know about this? You dropped the F word in public. You can drop it for me. What'd you say?
I said, how the fuck do I not know about this story? Because, first of all,
I dropped the F-bomb in private, but not in public.
You drop it in private, but not in public.
Yeah.
In front of the kids or not in front of the kids?
Now that the kids are teenagers, they probably have heard me say it, but mostly I tried not to drop it in front of the kids. But I remember the first time I dropped the F-bomb in front of my nieces, and they were like, ZZ. And I was like, you don't know this lady.
What do you remember of that moment?
I don't even remember. Oh, I do remember. We were on vacation. So I had the girls. My nieces were like probably 10 and 8 at the time. And we had brought fishing hooks. What do you call them? Poles.
Well, there's fishing hooks and there's poles. There's both.
Don't know how to fish. So we had fishing poles and hooks. And my niece threw her hook and it caught me in the finger. And I screamed at the top of my lungs, fuck! And then she was like, I never felt more in trouble in my entire life.
She felt like that.
Yes.
What about in front of you? Because I just started cursing in front of my older daughter, and I'm not happy with it. But I feel like I hear her cursing with her friends.
Right.
And I find myself more frustrated somehow, and I'm feeling like I can curse, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
My mom cursed all the time. I don't remember her not cursing. I don't curse in front of, I guess I do sometimes, but I try not to. I curse like constantly on the show.
Yeah.
Where's the cutoff as a doctor? Where's the cutoff where it's okay to curse in front of your children?
I mean, I think everybody makes this decision for themselves. That's the doctor answer when you're like, I don't know the answer to this.
Is it 15? Is it 12?
I mean, I started cussing at 12. Like, I was a super cusser. 7th grade, I remember, like 7th grade, I think I said my first curse word, and I was like, well, that was amazing. And then I became an avid curser. But then I stopped cursing in high school. This is funny, right? Kind of like drugs. I was like cursing all day, all night, and then I stopped cursing in high school. And then I probably started cursing a little bit in college. I didn't really curse in medical school. Hardly cursed when the kids were little. But then as I've just the last few years, I've just been cussing a lot.
You've been letting your freak flag fly with the cursing?
Been letting it fly.
And doctor,
I think you can curse anytime. Don't curse at your kids, but you can curse around your kids. That's where I'm landing.
Right. Cursing at your kids.
Yeah, like cursing is a form of communication, but try not to cuss at your kids.
Yeah. I don't remember my mother ever cursing at me.
Yeah.
And then there's to curse, to cuss, and to swear. You choose cuss.
I cuss, yeah.
I choose curse. Who chooses swear?
I do not know who uses swear. But I feel like cursing is like the color purple, like, no good will ever come to you.
But Jews
don't
don't believe in that kind of cursing.
Oh, really?
That kind of cursing isn't really in the Jewish world. Really? Nobody's cursing anybody.
Oh, I don't know about this.
Maybe in
Black people are definitely cursing people's souls.
Yeah.
I can't speak on behalf of all Black people, but I'm just saying.
I think modern Black people in New York and modern Jews in New York are done with cursing. I think old-timey Jews and old-timey Black people are cursing each other yeah. I think those guys are down with cursing. I think
those are also the people that use swear.
Maybe.
Because you like curse people and then you swear.
Right. I didn't even think of like the deep, voodoo of the curse.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I think of when I say curse. When I say cussing, I'm just talking about saying cuss words.
I never considered it until this moment. Isn't that interesting?
I'm here for you.
Thank you. And Dr. Harrison, we're doing a show tonight.
Yes.
It's called Dopey Love.
Uh-huh.
And you named it Dopey Love.
And I didn't even know. I thought you told me it was named Dopey Love.
I think I texted it to you. I think I texted you want to do our Dopey Live show.
Oh,
and
live,
somehow it became love. And then it became love. And then somebody said, why did you call it Dopey Love? And I said, oh, and Zinga called it Dopey Love. And then you said, no, you called it Dopey. So I think it was just one of these things that happened.
It was meant to be.
And I'd asked a lot. I wanted you to be at DopeyCon. I wanted you to be the last 3 DopeyCons.
I know, but where I was always traveling somewhere and couldn't make it. I'm always.
So I was like, you want to do this show? And you were like, yeah. And then I saw the thing about your brother.
Yeah.
And you sent me this documentary. And I just thought that we needed to talk about your story.
Okay.
We usually talk about fentanyl and kratom and maybe we'll talk about that at the end.
And the Dopey Nation's like, bullshit, Dr. Harrison.
Well, a lot of the Dopey Nation lives by your word.
I love that so much. Like what I love about Dopey Nation is y'all keep it real.
Well, let's revisit for a second though before we tell the story. We were talking about fentanyl laced weed, and the Dopey Nation exploded. That's not a real thing.
Right.
And in your work, has it been a thing? Has it popped up again?
It has not popped up again. So after that, it was like I was doing my save a life, right? Like fentanyl's and everything. Just keep yourself safe. Know what you're using type of business. There were some cases of fentanyl-laced weed. Most likely weed just happened to be on the table that fentanyl was previously on, right? Like not somebody was putting fentanyl in weed. But no, it's not a thing. And so I came back and I was like, did my little research, and I was like, you know what? Dopey Nation is right. Like,
I wouldn't be surprised though. It's like when I came up, people were putting coke on top of the weed.
Yeah.
PCP on top of the weed.
Dipping it in embalming fluid.
Why wouldn't somebody sprinkle a little fentanyl if they have it?
For sure.
And they like to get down like that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's such a crazy thing.
It's not a crazy thing, but the idea was like, weed is widely laced with fentanyl.
That was
Now, for sure, if you're getting pressed pills off the street, that's what I told my kids. I was like, first of all, anything anybody gives you at school is fentanyl. Like, just know that's what it is. So Nasir, he's 19 now. No, 18. He got his wisdom teeth out and he was going to school. And I was like, take your ibuprofen with you. And I was like, if you run out of ibuprofen and somebody offers you a pill, and they say, this is ibuprofen, what is it actually? He was like, it's fentiprofen, Mom. It's fentiprofen.
Wow.
Exactly.
And he's not messing around with any fentiprofen.
Not that I know of. Hopefully not.
So the movie is called Born on Friday.
Yes.
Tell us everything. Just tell us
everything.
Tell
Lord
us, I mean,
Jesus.
because like you've been on the show 5 times on our show. And your brother is serving a life sentence in prison for a murder that he didn't commit.
3 murders.
For 3. Tell us the story.
I'll tell you the whole story. Okay. Where is the Kleenex?
Okay.
There will be no Kleenex. There will just be crying. That's fine.
Should I get some Kleenex?
It is fine.
We have
I'm
paper
perfectly
towels.
fine. We'll take paper towels.
You want a paper towel?
Yeah. There's no way I can tell the story without crying.
Sam, can you grab a paper towel for the good doctor, please, from the kitchen?
Now, here's what people who know me know about me. I always let my tears fall down my face, but then when your tears get dry and then you like can't comfortably move your face, then that's when you need a paper towel, like wipe your tears.
I don't cry.
What?
I don't cry anymore.
No, for real? Okay, anymore. Did you used to cry?
No, I'm not a big crier.
I'm a huge crier.
That's not paper towels.
That's fine.
Is that
going to take the whole roll of toilet paper?
More gentle on her nose.
Is that going to be okay?
Like if you go take a dump right now, you have nothing to wipe your butt with?
No, my father uses less than great toilet paper. I prefer Cottonelle Clean Care with the ridges.
Did they pay you for this?
No.
Because that was a straight up product placement promo.
I love Cottonelle Clean
I'm
Care.
ready. I'm ready.
Now, hold up.
Crying.
I just want to make this clear. Dr. Harrison didn't come by herself. She came with her lovely husband, Joel, and then this documentary crew that's been here all fucking day.
I know,
they're taking meetings on the
Dave.
terrace. This guy needs gum. Can I go get some gum? So they're covering the good doctor's life,
Yes.
and all of her exploits.
Yes.
And the movie is called Born Friday.
Born Friday. Yes. And the reason it's called that is because my brother's first name is Kofi, Kofi, which means boy born on Friday.
That's what Kofi means.
Yes. And so my first name is Adwoa, which means girl born on Monday. So that's what each of us are. Okay, so here's the story.
Swahili, in what language?
Makan actually is the Ghanaian language.
Ghanaian language.
Yeah, Ghana.
Tell us everything.
Okay, here's everything.
Swahili was a shot in the dark.
It was a fair shot.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay, here's everything. Where do I start? Born and raised in Indianapolis, Indiana. I have an older brother, Paul. He has his own mother. We share a dad. In our house is my older brother, Kofi. We call him Modibo, so you'll hear me call him Debo from now on. He's 3.5 years older than me. He is the smartest of all of us. So, like, I'm smart. My brother is like, we all knew all of the kids, like, he is the smartest of all
Paul's
of us.
not that smart.
God bless Paul.
What about the younger brother? Or the younger sister?
The younger brother is a sister.
Yeah.
Yes. So my younger sister, also super smart in a different, she's a creative. So she like runs her own business.
So you and Debo think you're all that, and the other two are not on the level. Right.
No, it was just well known.
Yes, in the family.
Who
was superior and who was not. Okay, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm following.
He is the smartest, photographic memory, super book nerd, like probably neurodiversity on the spectrum, me included. Okay? Proudly. So he's 3.5 years older than me. Then there's me, then my sister, who's 7.5 years younger than me. So for the first 8 years of my life, it's just me and my older brother. I look exactly like him. We are like twins. People can recognize me in the street because I'm his little sister. We grow up. My father is founder and commander of the Black Panther militia in Indianapolis, Indiana in the 80s.
So what is, tell us about that.
So he's an activist. His activism is around racial inequities and police brutality against Black people. So for example, when I was in high school, there was a 16-year-old kid named Michael Taylor who was handcuffed in the back of a police car who, quote, shot himself in the head. No, he didn't, right? And so my father then is on the front lines organizing the protests and trying to hold police accountable and trying to drive racial equality in Indianapolis. That was his day job. By night, he was an electrical engineer. My mother was a public school teacher. Me and my brother are the two kids in the house growing up, call it middle class. Great life, amazing, like go to the creek, go to the woods behind the house, everything is great. Fast forward to he goes off to college, to Jackson State in Mississippi, historically Black college and university, to study to be a veterinarian his freshman year. He goes for his first semester of sophomore year. I'm a senior in high school at this time. And he didn't go back for his second semester. I don't know why he didn't go back. He was planning to go back in the fall. So he's living at home with my dad. My parents are separated by this time. So me and mom.
Your dad had a big personality. Does have a big personality.
Yes, present tense for sure. Massive character. Our family's always in the news because of my dad. Always on TV, always in the newspaper. My dad is on the radio. It's always a super scary picture of him like, right, screaming about something. So my brother's home for, call it like a gap semester or a gap year or whatever. I'm senior year of high school, class president, because, high grades. But I skipped last period almost every single day.
What are you bragging now about this?
Yes.
Do you want to be cool?
It's actually an important part of the story. Okay, Dave.
Okay, but hold on. Before you even answer that part, I know because I watched a couple versions of what you have so far, and I know
the trailer for the documentary.
The 20-minute one too.
Yeah.
So, and I know your brother was smoking weed.
Correct.
And were you smoking weed?
No, I never smoked weed. So my dad smoked a ton of weed when we were growing up, and I hated it. And so I was like, I'm never going to smoke weed because people smoke weed and they think they get smarter and they're actually quite stupid. So like my dad and all of his friends would be smoking weed and I was like,
you didn't love that vibe.
It smells bad. The seeds are everywhere. It's disgusting. You think you're smart, you're not. So that was my concept of weed. So I never smoked weed until college. I smoked it once. I did not like being high. I was like, not the jam. My brother is smoking tons of weed. Now, at that time, I didn't know it. I know that now.
Right.
But
I'm sure that might have contributed to him not wanting to stay in school or whatever.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe.
It's hard. I mean, it's hard to stay in school when you're always high.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure.
And I don't know either. What do I know?
I mean, I think what I found out later also was that he had actually been held up at gunpoint right on the edge of the college campus.
Oh, that's probably why he didn't go back. Not because of the smoking weed.
Correct. And it's interesting. My husband also got held up at gunpoint when he was in college, 2 different colleges.
What were the circumstances when Debo got held up by gunpoint?
I do not know, but it was a stranger. Like even he went to Jackson State. Jackson State is in the middle of a neighborhood, and so like the neighborhood kids, quote unquote, would hold up the college kids because the college kids had money. So it was the same thing when my husband got held up at college. We went to Howard. The surrounding neighborhoods were relatively poor. They would hold up the college kids. It was the same thing when I went to Penn for medical school. Like they would come and rob the college kids, right? So
makes sense.
He got robbed at gunpoint. And now I know that contributed to his not wanting to go back to school. When I was a senior in high school, I didn't know that. But so I skipped last period every day. So this one day I was skipping last period, roaming the hallways, and I see my aunt walk towards me. And I'm like, oh, finally getting in trouble. Even though my brain was like, why is it my aunt and not my mother that's like here to get me in trouble? And she walked up to me and she was like, I'm taking you out of school right now. Like, we have to go home. I'm like, what? Skipping's not that big a deal. And we got in the car and she told me, your brother has been arrested for the triple slaying in Carmel, Indiana. So to give the context, Carmel, Indiana was the rich white suburb of Indianapolis. We knew Black people don't go to Carmel. Black people definitely don't go to Carmel after dark. Like, it was not, you just were not supposed to be there, so you were going to get harassed or whatever. And it's funny because that morning when I got to school, one of my best friends was like, I saw your brother on the news this morning. And I was like, definitely didn't. And she's like, no, I saw him on the news for those Carmel murders.
You heard that at school that day? She
told me before first period. And I was like, not a thing. I was like, first of all,
she must have seen some other kid.
Some other Black kid, right? I was like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. I was like, and second of all, I think if my brother had been on the news for murder, which is like not a thing, I would know about it before you would know about it. So I'm like, I don't know how you got it wrong. Because she's like my close friend. She knows my brother. I don't know how you got it wrong, but that makes no sense. My aunt picks me up. Your brother has been arrested for the murders. So I go home. I worked at Blockbuster at the time. And I called my boss, who later became my boyfriend. That's a different story. And I was like...
looking at her husband, looking at Joel. Shout out to Joel.
I was like, yeah, I'm not coming to work today, and I don't know when I'm going to come to work because my brother's been arrested for murder. Like, these words don't even make sense. Went in the house. My mom is just like in the bed, catatonic, crying. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And from there, I mean, he went to jail and he never came out.
And your dad is always dealing with horrible stories about other people. And now it's a horrible story about his son.
Right.
And it must have, he was trained for that moment, but it must have been.
No, you can't
Nobody can be. And let's talk about the story though. Like what was the story that he was even at the house?
So the story is my brother was working at the pizza place and who turned out to be the other two defendants and actually the perpetrators of the crime worked at this pizza place. And so they met each other at the pizza place and then became friends. My brother was living at my dad's house at the time. Me and my mom were living, and my baby sister by this point, living in the townhouse. And so as I understand it, Raymond, who is the person who actually committed the murders, met these rich white kids in Carmel and came home and told my brother, let's go smoke some weed with these rich white kids. So my brother thought he was going to...
How old were these rich white kids?
Well, I don't actually know which of them they met, Dave. So the older, who was still very young, the guy that Raymond murdered, I think was 21, 22. And then the two kids who actually had nothing to do with it, who were just like the kids in the house, the Alamanos kids, Nick and Lisa. Nick was, I think, like maybe 19 or 16. And Lisa was a kid. She was like 12.
Right. And your brother was 18, 17, 20.
Yeah, he was 20.
And
he had just turned 20 a couple months before.
And they went to get high with these kids.
Went to get high. So my brother thought, went to get high, sell them some weed. And when they got there, then it actually turns out Raymond, and I'm not sure if James Wall, who is the other person, but we're there to rob the place. And so Raymond's like, we're here to rob the place. I mean, this is what's so crazy. Like, my brother is an avid reader. I still send him like probably 10 books a month for the last 30 years that he's been in prison. But he like is reading a book in the back of the car on the way to this house to go smoke weed.
And he doesn't know that they want to rob the house.
He doesn't know that they want to rob the house. So they get to the house. Raymond's like, we're here to rob this place. Pulls a gun. You can rob the place or I can kill you.
That's what he says to your brother.
As I understand it. Mind you, my brother and I have never talked about these details because from the time he got arrested, he's on a recorded line. And I'm like, do not tell me anything because they record everything. They will bring it out like in court proceedings. So this is like piecing together what I have heard over the 30 years. Rob the house. So my brother's robbing the house. There's upstairs, first level and basement, I guess. And he, at some point, comes in the basement and it's a massacre. And so what I understand is that Raymond and this guy, James, were trying to get the safe code, like the code to the safe. Tortured the kids. Tortured the older guy. Chris was a family friend, which I think is actually who knew Raymond. Tortured them, beat them, slit their throats. And so my brother stumbles in on this massacre, goes outside, throws up, is like totally out of sorts. And then they leave the house. And this is the part that a lot of people can't understand. Myself, to some extent, included. Although I understand the amount of trauma my brother was under at that point. Get in the car, go to Chicago, hawk like stuff that they stole. I think it was, I'm not sure, one of the young guy's girlfriends that came to the house and like stumbled on their bodies and called the police. And so the police, you know, ultimately found Raymond and my brother. And have I been calling him James? I think his name is Chris.
Either way.
I think it's Chris. I don't know. I'm out of sorts. I have it mixed up. And so my brother like takes the cops back to the scene of the crime. And I'm like still screaming to my brother this day, like, what the fuck? You do not talk to the police. Everybody knows this. Like, have you never seen a movie?
Especially with your dad.
Your dad is commander of the Black Panther militia. Like, have you never seen a fucking movie? But my brother is like, I thought if I just told the truth, everything would be okay. And he like takes the police. He walks them around the whole crime scene. He tells them everything that happened. They interrogate him.
Hoping that because he didn't commit the murder, that he would give them enough information that maybe he would get some other sentence and that he would help the course of justice.
Exactly. And instead, what happened is all of the headlines said Black Panther militia commander's son arrested in Carmel triple murder slaying. And if you were in Indianapolis at that time, you understand all of the dog whistles in that
like
headline.
Race killing, blah, blah, blah.
You understand socioeconomic whistles, race whistles, Black Panther whistles.
Right.
Like, you understand all of it. And I think probably at that time, a lot of people maybe didn't even know there were two other defendants. They definitely didn't know that that the forensics demonstrated that my brother was nowhere near when the kids were tortured and killed. Like, he had no forensic evidence on him at all that would even place him at the scene of the crime if he didn't place himself. But the public couldn't know this. And so I went off to college. He got sentenced. He got convicted. I remember in my dorm room sophomore year, my mom called and was like, they convicted him.
How long did the trial go?
So I was senior year. It was March of my senior year of high school that he got arrested, and it was the fall of my sophomore year of college.
And
that
you
he got
and you go to
convicted.
Howard.
Yeah, I went
And
to
you
Howard.
go pre-med.
Yep.
And you're probably excelling at everything.
Yeah. Cheerleader, student government.
How do you live with this fear, pain, grief, and conduct your life at such a high functional level at the same time?
So in college, I was under the same delusion as my brother that it was going to be fine.
Okay.
And so we were just biding our time.
We just have to get through this trial.
Yeah, we just have to get through this trial, and then he's going to get time for what he did do, right? Like what he did do was go to these people's house and rob these people's house and knock the stuff after. So like he'll get time for what he did do. But then my mom called me and said he's convicted on
the murders,
all 10 charges.
Do you think he was going to sell bud? Like, do you think that was probably his motivation, or he had nothing to do that day and he was just going to get high? Like, what do you think the real motivation for going to the house?
So what I always thought was we're going to smoke some weed with some rich kids is what I thought the story was. Recently, I actually think maybe my brother was selling weed and was going to sell some weed and get his money and smoke some weed at the same time. The real answer is I don't know. And what I do know, his motivation was not to go rob the place, and certainly he didn't know anybody was going to get murdered.
Of course. And it's been how long?
That was 1994. That he went to jail,
so
arrested
31 years ago.
31 years.
And it's a life sentence. It's not a death sentence.
Here's what's interesting. So he was convicted on 10 charges, 3 burglary, 3 murder, 3 robbery, which is of a person, 3 binding and gagging, because I told you they tortured the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then 1 burglary, which is of the house, so 10 felony counts. In Indiana, there is no felony murder. So like everybody heard of felony murder, you're committing a felony, people get killed. Even though you didn't get killed, you didn't do the killing, you get felony murder. In Indiana, there's no felony murder at that time. So he was convicted as if he committed the murders. He was sentenced to life without parole. Appealed. The Supreme Court said you cannot sentence him to life without parole. Like he literally, no legal history, no criminal background, college kid in between sophomore and junior years going back to college to study veterinary. So the Supreme Court is like, you did not prove what they call legally intentional killing, which means you actually killed the people. So you cannot sentence him to life without parole. So the trial judge resentenced him to 240 years, which we were like, that's the same thing. But we just, Dave, found out in the last 2 months it's not the same thing, because life without parole is life without parole. In Indiana, if you have what they call a determinate sentence, so any sentence with a number of years, no matter what the number is, you become eligible for parole after you have served 20 years.
So he had done 30 when you found this out.
He had done 30 when we found this out, because the prison still has his sentence in the system as life without parole.
Right.
So
they commuted it to the 240 years, but for some reason it was in the... See, that seems like grounds, but for something.
For something. So that's what we're like. That seems like grounds for something.
Now, when did this whole movie thing happen?
So, for 30 years, my dad really was leading the legal fight. He even went to paralegal school to become a paralegal because, we don't have money to pay all these lawyers. So
and your dad, when he got convicted, your dad historically said, if you kill my son, I'm going to start killing you people.
I mean, in not exact terms, but yes, if my son gets the death penalty, other death penalties will be carried out. My father looked into major network cameras and said this during my brother's trial, and we were like, this is not helping.
Well, how miraculous is it that a tragedy, it's a multi-level tragedy.
Yeah.
These kids are dead.
Yeah.
Your brother
Everything
loses
about it
his
is
whole
tragic.
future.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say something that's going to I don't know. It's not
Just
going to make
say
you.
it.
It's not going to make you feel great.
Just say it.
You go on to have like a picture perfect life.
Yeah.
How do you do it? How does it work? And like, does anybody like have any weird feelings like your brother's rotting in prison while you're the most beautiful doctor taking care of the world with a beautiful family and all this stuff? Does anybody give you any? Is there any weird undertones of guilt or anything?
There's no weird undertones.
It's a weird question. I apologize. It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I was just enjoying the most beautiful doctor with the most beautiful family
Yeah,
part.
you got a beautiful family, beautiful doctor.
This is what's so interesting about our family.
Yes.
We like our nuclear family, we like don't have competition between us. So like, you know how siblings have competition
Sure.
and how I was like, we all knew he was the smartest one, is still like, we just know he's the smartest one. And we're like, if he hadn't got caught up in this, but to be clear, like, this did not just happen to you. Like, you made a series of decisions that landed you at that house.
Right.
And so my brother has accountability here. He doesn't have accountability to murdering the kids, but he has accountability here. And so, like, there's no reason for there to be shade on my life.
Of course not. Of course not.
No, you asked me the question. So, like, in our family, there is no, like, you're living a great life. Like, do you feel bad about that? My brother is like, send me pictures, write me letters, keep me up to date on everything. But there is a sense of sadness
deep
for all of the things
and it's all
that he has missed.
And when you are around your parents or Paul or your younger sister, what's her name? Akosua. Like, does Debo pop in immediately every time, or is it become,
a lot?
Yeah,
a lot.
And I think it was a stupid question. So
it wasn't. It was a super fair question.
I think the real question is more about, like, again, we've known each other for 5 years.
Yeah.
We talk incessantly about drugs,
yeah,
addiction, consequences.
Yeah.
I've talked about how much weed I've smoked. You've talked about the fact that you don't smoke weed and never have. But your brother was this insane stoner. Maybe you didn't know that he was this insane stoner who's serving life
at the time.
Life term in prison for murders, and you never mentioned it to me. So I'm thinking you're a master compartmentalizer.
Oh, I think that's fair. I think that's absolutely fair. Although it's interesting, I talk freely about this. But you just weren't in that compartment,
that makes
right?
Sense.
So, like, if you look at the internet, I'm like writing op-eds, and everybody at Eleanor Health, from the moment they knew me, they like all know the story of my brother. So I think you weren't in that compartment, and I am a master compartmentalizer.
I think I just
like, we will finish this podcast. I will cry this entire hour. We will finish this podcast. And in 5 minutes, I will go run your group medical team meeting at work.
But
right.
I think the only reason I'm harping on it is because I want to help. Mm-hmm. Like, we have a listener base, and our listener base gets thrown into the ringer a million times over.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to see what we can do to help, because our listener base loves you. Your brother is not necessarily a drug addict, but he's one of us. He's a stoner at least. You know, I want to see, like, how we can help in any kind of way. And how did you get this movie going?
Okay, that was the question. So, Dad was fighting.
And lean into the mic. I don't want to lose anything.
Okay, Dad was fighting.
No?
What, have I been leaning out of the mic?
This is how I conduct my interview. What do you?
Don't even edit this part out, okay, Howie? Like, let the Dopey Nation hear.
Let me just be clear. We had a guy here last week. He was talking like this. Howie did nothing to help, and now I'm saying, is she on the mic or not? And you say no, and I say this, and then you say something. Listen, I conduct my interviews the way I conduct my interviews. This is what I do.
It's verite.
Yes,
this
ma'am.
is what I learned about documentary making. Okay, it's verite.
Yes, doctor.
So when we thought we had exhausted all of the legal avenues is about 4 years ago. And it was like, we've exhausted all the legal avenues. We've done all the appeals, all the post-conviction release, all the things. The only thing left to you is clemency. And we were like, okay, clemency is totally political. The only person that can give my brother clemency is the governor of Indiana at the time that you're asking for clemency. And this is a huge multi-level tragedy. Like, as much as we're sad about the things my brother has missed, like 2 kids and a very young adult were brutally murdered. Like, it is awful. And
their families.
Of course, their families, their friends, their communities, right? And so I was always super reticent to come out like this has been a tragedy for my family. Even though this has been a tragedy for my family, I'm like, really? Like, and so, but at the point we had no more legal avenues, it was like, we're gonna have to get a public sentiment, because clemency is a very hard decision politically for a governor to make. And so we're going to have to, like, if a governor is going to be able to make this decision, that governor is going to have to know that there is public support for my brother getting out of prison. And so somebody said, like, oh, this is what happened. Compartmentalizing. So I was being an addiction expert in a documentary. And the director of that documentary was Jeff Riley. And Jeff was like, I did some research on you and I read about your dad. I should make a documentary about your dad. And I was like, if you want to make a documentary, you should make a documentary about my brother. And he's like, what's the story of your brother? And I'm like, you did internet research on me and you don't know the story of my brother? I told him the story of my brother. 3 days later, he's like, oh my God, I fell down the internet rabbit hole of your brother's story. Like, we have to tell your brother's story. And at that point, we decided to do a documentary. That was March 2020, because COVID shut down like a week after I just met him. And we've been making the documentary ever since.
Wow. And I just realized it's why did I not see it in my research of you when I had you on the show in the first place? I feel like it might be on me. The whole thing might be on me.
I don't know. I mean, there's a ton. My footprint on the internet is addiction doctor. Mm-hmm. But if you were just like, tell me about Nzinga's family, it will be the first and second thing you'll see will be my father and my brother.
And talk about what's the guy? Orvin.
Oh my God, this is so crazy. So we're making the documentary and we get to a point where we're like, we've been through a couple of directors and we finally land on our director, Sam, who's incredible and here with us today. Shout out to Sam.
And Sam's also from Indiana.
Sam happens to be from Indiana, which is crazy, like lives in Indianapolis. The whole thing is crazy. But we're like, we don't know. We're at an impasse. We have no legal avenues. We were just like in a rut. We don't know what's going to happen. It's May 2024. My youngest is just about to graduate from high school. Actually, he just graduated from high school. Joel and I bought him a car. We went down to Florida. We're on the highway driving back from Florida, me and Joel. My brother calls me. I'm like, what's up? We're in the car. He's like, dude. I'm like, what? He's like, last night the CEO bought me a letter that got lost in the mail. I'm like, he's like, it's from Elkhart, Indiana. And he's like, there was a young guy here that was from Elkhart. He got out. I figure he's just writing me to tell me how he's doing because my brother has like made it his mission in prison to like try to help young kids that not come back. Like he tells them like, I'm going to be here. I don't want to see you come back. And he like does mentoring with the young kids that come in there. This letter then is, he opens it up and it says, Dear Kofi, my name is Orban Mapey Jr. I was the foreman of the jury that convicted you.
Wow.
By the letter of the law, we made the right decision. Like we had to convict you because of the way the law was written, but I never believed you murdered anybody. And it has haunted me for 30 years. 2 years ago, I had a heart attack, coded in the hospital, had to be revived. I'm not sure why God kept me here, but maybe this is a part of it. This is the letter. Look, then now my mouth is like actually on the mic. This is the letter that Orvin wrote. I'm in the car pouring tears.
And the CO's lost the letter in jail.
My brother had the same reaction
like
you had,
which was like,
yeah,
letter.
Right.
But that's like...
But they brought it to him at midnight. Maybe it just got lost earlier that day. I don't know. I tend to think the best, but my brother had the same reaction you had. But they couldn't know what... It's just a letter on the outside.
They don't read the letter?
Oh, they do. They open up and read everything. Dang, Dave, why... You're right.
I don't know. I'm just saying
No.
it
You're
seems
right.
convenient.
But so gave it to him
Or
at midnight.
inconvenient.
So then my brother writes Orvin back. I'm like pouring tears. I'm like, oh my God, this is what we've needed. So then at this point, the foreman of the jury becomes the face of our quest for clemency for my brother.
And he's an older white guy.
74 years old, rural white guy who was working in the post office in South Bend, Indiana, went for jury duty, lands on this, which that's the other thing, Dave. All of the time, I never considered the impact that this would have on jurors. And he's like literally for 30 years, like periodically this came to his mind, like it just didn't feel right. And so, I mean, I'll show you pictures of Orvin is my boo.
But
sorry, Joel.
But
Orvin is like my boo right now.
In that movie, in the sizzle.
Absolutely.
I mean, he walks in the house. He's just what you would imagine a rural, postman in Indiana would look like and sound like.
Yeah.
He comes in, you start weeping, and
literal
you hug
panic
him.
attack.
And then your father is like, I never thought I'd ever thank an old white man for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And did it have an impact on your father, like a real impact?
A real impact. Like it is turning my father's concept of the world upside down.
But on the other hand, he was the foreman of the jury, and he could he have done anything back then?
Probably not.
Okay, let's give Orvin the pass.
Yeah. No, Orvin gets the pass,
right.
period, dot. But yeah, probably not.
I think Orvin doing the right thing is like, I mean, the sizzle reel that I saw is incredibly powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Your family, the pain, your brother whose quote that I can't get out of my head is, maybe they killed me that day.
I know.
And this is some demented afterlife. And you can feel, what he's been through just by seeing his face when he says it. But Orvin feeling the need to participate in justice and then giving you an opportunity to redo this thing.
Yeah.
So where are we at now?
Okay, so where we are now. So Orvin sent his letter in May, and we were like, okay, this is like what we needed to try to make a clemency push. So Governor Eric Holcomb of Indiana was the only one that could grant clemency to my brother. He had been governor for 8 years, so he couldn't run again. So we were like, now is the time, right? Because you always see people clemency and pardoning people when they go out. And so we put together this incredible clemency effort. It started in September. It usually takes 2 years to get a clemency packet in front of the governor. We got it in front of the governor in like 4 weeks. Orvin was the face of that. We mounted this massive online support campaign. Like over 7,000 people signed a petition, like supporting Governor Eric Holcomb to grant clemency to my brother. Governor Eric Holcomb's last day in office was, I think, January 12th. He sent us a letter that said, we haven't had enough time to go through the entire process that we would go through for me to be able to make a decision. So, the clemency process will continue. I'm not granting clemency to your brother before I get out of here. The next administration in Indiana, first of all, any new administration granting clemency is like not a thing. Also, we don't know about this administration. What was amazing was that the parole board in Indiana is the same board that works clemency packets for the governor. Like they do all of the research and investigation and then make a recommendation to the governor. The governor can do what the governor wants to do. So as part of this, as we were getting closer, first of all, we knew it was a moonshot. Like Governor Holcomb had not given clemency except for 3 medical clemencies for people who were incapacitated. So not the same thing. So like we knew it was a moonshot, but as part of the moonshot, the way I cope is always having a plan B, right? Like my coping skills are cognitive. And so I was like, if the governor says no, or if the governor doesn't give us an answer, what is our next step going to be? So I was on ChatGPT doing a ton of research, and that was how I stumbled on parole at 20 years. Because what we thought the parole law was, you have to serve half your sentence.
Oh, so you discovered it yourself? That's crazy.
On ChatGPT.
No way.
Yes
How
way.
does that happen?
I was literally, because I was like, okay.
They say ChatGPT is worthless.
ChatGPT has been our absolute best friend towards getting my brother out of prison.
It's
okay?
Howie's best friend too. He talks to ChatGPT all day.
No, my ChatGPT is the bomb, okay? It was just helping me the other day. I was coming up with a title for this keynote I have to give in a couple of months. So me and ChatGPT were going back and forth on the title. And I was like, here's the title. And ChatGPT was like, that is fire emoji. You are going to rock it. You are going to get it. My ChatGPT is the bomb, okay?
People are fucking crazy with this ChatGPT.
My ChatGPT is the jam.
My wife's best friend had a separate situation where her husband was drinking non-alcoholic beer, and she decided that was a relapse. So she had ChatGPT co-sign, and she's like, you're right. He's alcoholic. He's gotta go. ChatGPT cosigns everything.
No, ChatGPT does not cosign everything.
Everything I give it, they go, oh my God, Dave is fire, this and that. Fucking ChatGPT is it's like,
okay, you're not going to diss ChatGPT, okay? Because listen to the story.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right. So I was like, what is going to be the plan B? Because what I cannot have, my brother doesn't get devastated. That's what's remarkable about his resilience. Like, you saw him
He's endured.
He's endured and like with his self intact, but he's a master meditator. He meditates. Master meditator. It got tricky. He meditates several hours per day. But so I didn't want myself to feel devastated if the governor said no, because I wanted to know what is my next step going to be. And I didn't want my mother and my father to be devastated, because I wanted them to know we have another step. And I didn't want the 7,000 online supporters that we were giving daily updates. And I mean, like, people were in it. They were calling the governor's office. They were emailing the governor's office. They came to the clemency rally. And so I was like, what is our plan B going to be? And so because I knew it was the parole board working his packet, I said to myself, does this create any opportunity? So then I was like, I need to know absolutely everything about the parole board in Indiana. And I was using ChatGPT for my research. And I was like, tell me everything about parole in Indiana. What we always believed was that you have to serve half of your sentence to become eligible for parole. So when the judge gave my brother 240 years,
you're not going to get to 120.
You're not going to get to 120. So we never thought parole was an option. ChatGPT was like, in Indiana, if you have a determinate sentence, you're eligible once you serve half your sentence, or 20 years, whichever comes first. I was like, what? So then I was like, ChatGPT, give me the actual Indiana law. And then I went to the actual Indiana law and read it myself, because love ChatGPT, but ChatGPT will co-sign some stuff, right?
It also says that half the stuff it says is not real. I'm glad you checked it.
ChatGPT is like, I mean, ChatGPT is like, I'm ChatGPT, like, check this. This is, it literally was like, this is a very important issue. Like, you should co-sign this. And it was the thing. And so now,
it's unbelievable. I have to get back into ChatGPT.
I was like, ChatGPT, how do we do an application for parole? Because that's my plan B. And ChatGPT was like, there is no application for parole in Indiana because it's automatic. I was like, what? How can it be automatic? So then I go and do my own primary research. And it seems that my brother has never come up for a parole hearing, because the prison still has his sentence in the system as life without parole. And so we're currently working on getting his sentence corrected, which is a whole thing. We've been working on it since January. My brother actually knew this, that the prison hadn't corrected the sentence. He tried to get them to correct it 25 years ago, and they never corrected it. And then he was like, it doesn't matter, because I'm not going to get to 120 anyway.
Because he didn't know about the 20-year
He didn't
loophole.
know about it either. And so now we know about it. And so that's the plan that we're working on for getting him out now.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. So you said, what can Dopey Nation do?
Yeah.
We're making this documentary. I have been financing this documentary myself. I don't like asking people for money, but when you make a documentary, I'm learning everything. I literally started the production company. I'm learning everything. It's been an incredible learning curve. When you do a documentary, you fundraise. And so we're at the point in the documentary's life where it's time to fundraise. and we're selling credits to the documentary. So you can be like a supporter, you can be a producer, an executive producer, whatever the levels are. And so we're literally like sending out our fundraising call just in the last month to raise the money. So what I did was self-finance to get to the sizzle and the trailer that you saw, so that the sizzle and the trailer can be used to fundraise. So if you know anybody like in film.
I do.
Oh, great. Okay. All connections are welcome. That would like love to buy a credit or would love to contribute
I feel like
to this film, which is going to be really important.
I have somebody that might be very, very helpful.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then also, like, the credits start at $2,500. So you don't even have to be a super incredibly rich person. Like, if you want to put together $2,500, you'll get credit for supporting the development of this film.
All right.
And you know what the closing scene's going to be? I mean, maybe not the closing scene, because whatever, Sam's the director, he gets to decide what the closing scene is. But the denouement is going to be my brother walking out of prison.
Thank God. I really, I hope
that is what it's going to be.
All right. So you believe in manifesting?
Come manifest with me, Dave.
Do you believe in
No, I do.
You do believe in manifesting?
100%.
How much time do we have left? How much time do you have?
Okay. I'm obviously going to run my meeting here. At 1. I only need 8 minutes. Get my computer out.
So we have 10
Get
minutes.
Get the tears off my face.
I have an email about manifesting.
Oh, okay. Let's do it.
But I wanted to ask you first.
Okay.
In your work, because you work in addiction and recovery.
Yeah.
There's a guy I don't work with him. He's not even a colleague. He's a friend of mine who works in recovery.
Okay.
And he said fentanyl isn't the thing anymore, Dave. Mm. He said the thing is now alcohol again and legal weed.
Yeah.
And
high potency.
And that's what he said. From where I'm sitting, the thing is kratom.
Yeah.
Like from where Dopey is, because I think my theory is that all the heroin addicts got scared of fentanyl and found some relief in kratom.
Yes.
What are you finding is the trend in addiction recovery right now? Absolutely
the same. So we're at Eleanor Health. We're seeing a lot of kratom, and it's incredibly difficult for people to get off of. It is hard. And also, like, as medical professionals, we're still in the learning phase for like what protocols help people kind of detox more comfortably. I'm seeing exactly what you're seeing, kratom. I'm seeing what your friend's seeing for real. Like, these high potency marijuana products are just jacking people up. It is crazy how much cannabis use disorder diagnosis we're making now. And we were not making it before. We're like, yeah, uses marijuana, eats edibles, smokes weed, hits the bong. Like, now it is like we're literally diagnosing cannabis use disorder. People are like losing their family, losing their jobs, having freaking
mental lapses,
mental repercussions, but like physical health also.
Like what?
The physical health is really kind of like secondary to being sedentary. So
so people are chilling and they're eating,
just laying
and they're
around.
Not moving.
Yeah.
See, we have a very strong
and alcohol has always been there.
Is there a trend in alcohol?
The trend is actually away from alcohol in the younger generations. So the younger generations are doing a lot of like non-alcoholic. This is cool to like try a dry January or be sober curious. So I see it go in the opposite direction and call it 30 and less. The older folks who have already been addicted to alcohol, I don't see any changing trend there.
So it's
just that people are opening their eyes, like they're calling the alcoholism what it is.
You see less young people drinking then?
Less young people coming to Eleanor Health for alcohol use disorder, yeah.
What about...
And the pop culture is kind of trending away from it for the younger generations.
Sam is like destroying our set. I swear to God, Sam, what are you doing here? You're our guest. What's happening?
What are you doing?
He just ruined the whole like he just Sam, are you some sort of superhuman that
I can dress him up, but I cannot take him out.
Oh my goodness. I thought they don't make bricks like they used to. Anyway, what was I going to say? I was going to say something. I can't remember what I was going to say.
It was your friend manifesting email.
No,
He's saying, you're saying kratom.
No, I wanted to talk about
marijuana.
I wanted to talk about, I know the thing that was on my mind, but there was another thing about if young people are so keyed into mindfulness, wellness, all this stuff. Are you finding business to be depleting
No,
in addiction recovery?
absolutely not.
What about Ozempic as the great equalizer, as the thing that puts all rehabs out of business?
Yeah, it's
Do you
true.
see it?
No, I do not see it. So
I remember what I was actually going to say. Answer
go
that
ahead.
question, then we'll get back to what I was going to say.
No, I don't see it. What I see is the consistent recurrent story that plays over and over, which is that human beings want a magic cure to everything, definitely to addiction. And there's not going to be a magic cure. Like, addiction has so many inputs that there's not going to be a pill that cures all those inputs.
But Ozempic does it. Why not?
Ozempic does what?
They're saying Ozempic not only makes you not fat, but also not alcoholic, not addicted. You're not finding that to be a possibility.
No, I think Ozempic, I'm bullish on Ozempic for addiction. I think it's going to make a huge difference. It's not going to be magic because Ozempic is not going to take away your childhood trauma. Ozempic's not going to take away your anxiety. Ozempic's not going to take away your depression. Ozempic's not going to take away the abusive relationship you're in right now. Ozempic's not going to take away the political stress, right? And so it will create space, like, and this is the same thing with, we're using Suboxone. Everybody's like, Suboxone is the cure for opioid use disorder. No, it's not. It's very helpful. I recommend Suboxone to everybody that comes to me for kratom and opioid use disorder. It is not a cure. You still do not have enough money to buy your groceries. You still do not have a
why not
relationship with your parents,
but
right?
Why?
Because addiction, yes, causes a lot of trouble, but addiction is also the result of a lot of troubles. And so a pill can create, like, biologically, it can create space that makes it easier for you to make a different choice. But that pill doesn't make the choice for you. That pill does not fix your life circumstances. That pill does not erase your past.
But maybe it makes it so you're not spending all your money on heroin,
Sure,
so you can buy groceries.
100%.
And I mean, what is there a downside to being on Suboxone for the rest of your life?
No. There's not a downside to being on Suboxone for the rest of your life. And so I always, when I prescribe Suboxone, I'm like, at least let's do a year. Like, at a year, the risk of relapse falls significantly. The risk of relapse falls back to that of the general public at 5 years. I have people that have been on Suboxone 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. They are living their lives. And, like, to me, that's the point, right? Sobriety is not the point. Life is the point.
Quality of life.
Life is the point. So, like, whatever you have to do to live a life no, staying alive is not the point.
You just said life.
Living and being alive is not the same thing. There are plenty of people who are living right now, and it's torture.
So we're saying medicated assisted treatment can increase your quality of life, so you are not just living.
It can be a tool. Yeah, medication can be a tool that helps create circumstances for you to be able to live the life you want to live, right? So, like, if you have running commentary about heroin all the time, at some point it becomes very difficult not to use heroin because you have running commentary about heroin. So if Suboxone takes away running commentary about heroin, and this is what people say about the GLP-1s, about Ozempic, you have running commentary about food, about alcohol. We're getting good data about opioids. The data is slower to develop, but it's coming. And it can take away that running commentary. You're laughing because I drop into my doctor speak.
I like it.
You can take away that commentary. That creates space. You stop spending your money on heroin. That creates space. You stop stealing from your family. That creates space. You can show up at dance recital. That creates space, right? Like, all of that is just creating space for you to live the life that you want to live.
And then once you create the space, the trick is what are you bringing into the space
That's right.
to make the life better?
That's right.
And what is the recovery? Like, is it
That's right.
Is it a hobby? Is it 12-step?
That's
is it
right.
Whatever it is?
It can be a million different things, but you have to fill that space.
That reminds me of you jacking the alt recovery movement for your book on addiction.
I know.
The greatest jacking in the history of Dopey. The greatest jacking in the history of Dopey.
I will not be falsely accused of jacking.
It was the greatest jacking to ever happen in the history of Dopey. And I felt good about it, to be honest with you.
Good.
Because you want to break it down?
Do it.
You
break it down.
I'm going to break down my idea, but
Okay.
Can you please tell Sam and Joel to stop talking? I swear to God.
Oh boy, amateurs. Sam should know better. Sam knows you don't talk when you're
He's
filming.
breaking brick walls.
Joel doesn't know.
He's talking.
But Sam knows
something's
better.
happening out there. We're going to run out of time.
Okay. I'll
Years
come back.
ago, a very stalwart member of the Dopey Nation wrote a letter to me, an email, saying that we were on the vanguard of the alt recovery movement. And I was like, if Dopey doesn't make it, the alt recovery movement, we'll make a movement. I got Dr. Harrison on the phone.
I was so hyped.
Will you co-sign? She's like, I'm co-signing. And what's the principle?
We made a logo.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, you have to find it.
I have it. I have it right on hand.
Uh-huh.
The credo of the alt recovery movement was there are a million ways into addiction and an infinite number of ways out of addiction.
Yeah.
Then...
Wait, did I get that for you? Because I definitely wrote that in the book.
Yes.
I should have gave you credit.
It's fine. I stole it from somebody else. The point
I already believed it.
I know.
Then you gave me the words for it.
I'm honored
Yeah.
that it worked out.
Yeah.
It worked out.
That's incredible.
But then
that was a jacking. Okay, I accept
that was the great
responsibility.
jacking of on addiction.
I accept responsibility
It's
for the great
fantastic.
jacking.
Thank you. I feel much better about this. But then there was a schism in Dopey Nation, and the alt recovery movement fled Dopey Nation.
Wait, why was there a schism?
Because there was a schism between harm reductionists and abstinent people. And some harm reductionists felt that the abstinent people threatened their harm reduction. It became twisted.
Yeah,
and
that is twisted because it's all the same. Right? Like for some people, the space is filled with abstinence, and for other people, the space is filled with something else.
The only answer is love. So love unites
Dopey.
the abstinent, Dopey love.
Dopey love.
Love unites the abstinent and the harm reductionist. But when there is no love, it creates a problem.
Agree.
And I had jacked the alt recovery movement from that letter in the first place.
Yeah.
So we were just a series of jackings. And so I fucking... And then the lady wrote me a nasty letter, and I said, I will never mention the alt recovery movement.
And here we are.
Again. I never made the T-shirts with that cool logo with the tree.
Yeah,
and
the logo was incredible.
And there was a schism in Dopey Nation, and there was a new group formed, the alt recovery movement, of these harm reductionists in Dopey.
Yeah,
and that's the story.
Dang, that is so crazy. Well, I think there's plenty of love. And now that you have broken your credo to never mention alt recovery again, maybe this is the beginning of...
No, we can't because it's hers. I can't. It's like, because like then it becomes...
But the two of y'all don't have to be...
No,
well.
Stop. But you know what it's like? It's like if you take something... And I even gave her credit every time I mentioned it. But you got to come up with... It's such a good name.
Alt recovery is incredible.
Such a good name.
Yeah, it's so good.
Maybe we'll steal it back.
No, it has to be. There has to be love.
Yes, and Dr. Harrison, I don't know if I was. I feel horrible about your brother.
What? Oh, thank you.
And I don't know if I was emotional enough. Sometimes I'm a real cold fish. But I'm excited to see what you guys can pull off.
You were so emotional on the text that you sent me immediately. Like I could really tell how it affected you, and that meant a lot to me.
I love you.
I love you back.
And I love your brother and your family. And thank you for coming back.
Yeah,
Are you very impressed with the setup?
No, I'm legit so impressed. It's incredible.
Are you more impressed with the setup or Howie?
Howie.
Look at him.
Hands down, period.
Look at him.
Look at those glasses.
It's all happening. It's all...
You know I'm all about glasses. I have so many pair of glasses. And these glasses, top notch.
You're not wearing glasses.
I'm not. And I cannot actually see you.
Are you excited for tonight?
Yes, even though I don't have a good idea of what tonight's going to be because you've told me nothing.
I don't know how to describe it.
I'm just going with the flow. I'm coming. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be in it. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be cool.
I cannot wait.
All right, killer. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Harrison.
Bye.